Despite years of following media, studying, research, etc., there are still times when I'm not sure what the words are to use other than cursing a lot. So I'm assuming that most people have read or heard of 1984. Um, the Department of Homeland Security in April put out a job listing. They're looking for a company to do quote unquote media monitoring services. And when you go into it, they want you to be able to track over 290,000 global news sources and develop an extensive database for an unconfirmed number of quote unquote media influencers. Obviously, media influencers starts to give you pause when you see that. Those words are very ambiguous, which the government, when you leave anything open, takes that and more. So, Bloomberg apparently is originally the one that reported this. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a number of different articles, and they sort of quote little parts, but then they use their own words, and so it gets kind of confusing. But the quoted parts are pretty clear. Like media influencers. That's a very vague term. So it gets even better than that. When they go into the descriptions of it, it gets a little scary. Like, quote, media comparison tools, design and rebranding tools, communication tools, and the ability to identify top media influencers, unquote. So that's a little bit more scary. And then it goes down to, quote, any and all media coverage related to the Department of Homeland Security or a particular event. Kind of vague. That can go into a lot of things. I mean, that's it's pretty vague. So part of that data combing effort would include the development of, quote, a database, unquote, that gathers intel about, quote, journalists, editors, correspondents, social media influencers, comma, bloggers, comma, etc., unquote. Whew. Including locations, beats, reporter types. That's contact details, overviews of each influencer's previous coverage, current publications, and, quote, any other information that could be relevant, unquote. Whew. Well, that just pretty much covers everything possible, right? There isn't much left. I find myself trying to think of words that don't involve cursing. So, here's the worst part of it. There was a response from the reporters contacted DHS and asked for a comment on this. Tyler Q. Holton, which is the spokesman, wrote a tweet, and it says, despite what some reporters may suggest, this is nothing more than the standard practice of monitoring current events in the media. Any suggestion otherwise is fit for tin-foil hat-wearing black helicopter conspiracy theorists. That was the spokesman's response. Do you know who Eric Arthur Blair is? If not, you should definitely take a minute and look him up, because obviously it's going to be very important in the near future.